Taralaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Taravaktaya Namo Namaha Om Maginati Mirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karmadi Tarangamadhe Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam. I first of all offer millions and millions of Dandavat pranams to the lotus feet of our most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Leela Pravishta on Asto Tarasara Shishima, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And the same again, millions and millions of times unto the lotus feet of our most beloved, Nitya Leela Pravishta on Asto Tarasara Shishima, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord. My Dandavat pranams to all of you and all who's listening. So, Jaiva Dharma, chapter 8, and we'll do our second Mangalacharan by reading the Falshruti. Where are we up to, Gokul?
We
start from the beginning again, okay. Just a second. Pritivite yatakata dharma name chale bhagavatakaye shava paripurna chale.
As indicated in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, second shloka, all the philosophies on earth that are celebrated as Dharma are utterly deceptive.
So we talked on this point the other day. That is such a bombshell of a statement that all dharmas are utterly deceptive. If it's not Vaishnava Dharma, if it's not Sanatan Dharma, if it's not Jaiva Dharma, because there are many types of worldly Dharma, and the principal Dharma, Artha, Karma, Moksha. Moksha is the principal traditional goal of practically everyone except the Vaishnavas. The Vaishnavas understand that is Naimitic moksha. Moksha, we were saying this morning, is like banging your head against the wall, and then you stop banging, you say, now I'm liberated. What we do. You know, there's no understanding of what you do when you're liberated. What is the activity of the soul? Our path is not becoming liberated or trying to become materially happy. That's not our path in life. You can't be materially happy. Those two words together actually are contradictory. Anything that is material is going to be temporary. And the soul is longing for eternality. It has a natural inclination, a thirst, a hunger for something that is eternal. We want to stay in different places sometimes for a long time, or stay in relationships for a long time. We have that natural proclivity. All souls, traditionally, all souls, ultimately, internally, want that eternal relationship. Because that's our constitution. Of course. And that devotee asked those nice questions this morning about those different qualities that were mentioned. But unless they're connected with the eternal aspect. His question was, should we cultivate these qualities separately? And I was saying these qualities naturally arise when the soul becomes perfected. But on the way to perfection, we should hear about these qualities and try to incorporate them into our lives. Not that I think all these qualities are temporary because I'm not on the spiritual platform. You understand? Clear. If there's anything that you don't understand, please ask. This is only a small gathering, so, you know, the idea, it's helpful for you to ask questions. If something is a little bit unclear, we have time. I'm going to be here eternally. I'm going to be here for a little while. But anyway, yes, all dharmas are utterly, not just deceptive, they're utterly deceptive. That means completely deceptive. They can just take you off on a tangent, away from Shuddha Bhakti. Shuddha Bhakti is very fine focus for the consciousness to become matured into by so much study, chanting, sadhana, etc. Gradually the consciousness will become, by Krishna's mercy, absorbed in the principle of focus and worship to Krishna. Chale dharma chade kare satya dharma mati chaturvargya tyaji dari nitya prema gati.
One should completely abandon such deceptive dharmas and absorb his mind in true dharma. In other words, one should give up the fourfold goals of material life, dharma, arth, kam, moksha, and aspire solely for the ultimate destination of nitya prema.
This is interesting because it's like in the world now, many truths are being revealed, or many fake things are being exposed. And along with all that, the absolute reality should be revealed clearly for everyone. This is Mahaprabhu's time. This is the time when Mahaprabhu is manifesting his deepest truths in the world. It's taken 500 years to reach this point. And externally, everything is crunching more and more and more difficulties materially all across the planet. Correct? You know, every day we hear more and more the demons, basically, who are operating in this yuga, are trying to get more and more and more dominance, and they're successful. They won so many times. They just shut us all down with this pandemic. Right, so why is all this going on? To bring the sincere soul to a place to cry out for mercy from Krishna and begin to take his practice more seriously. It's a serious endeavor to climb out of this material consciousness. It's not something ha ha ha, he, you know, we'll just get out of it somewhere, a bit of jibber jabber, and then you're out of it. No, it's much more serious than that. We have to become the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra will sober the mind. It'll bring the excitement of the material attraction down. It'll reduce the intoxication of the material pleasures. Material pleasure is very intoxicating, isn't it? I mean, all the world is intoxicated by it. They're all running around, you know, doing the most crazy things. They've become derailed. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying here that Dharma is only one true Dharma. And this is what this Jaiva Dharma is about. Amitva mimamsa brahme nija jada buddhi nirvishesha brahma jnana ichita suddhi.
Those who are deluded identify themselves with matter. That is
this is the principle. This is the first lesson in spiritual reality, is that I'm not matter. And how hard is that to realize? We read in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Dehino Srinyata Dehi, etc. So many verses are there telling you you're not the body, you're not. But do you believe it for a second? Today I took a bath at maybe 3 o'clock and the water was so hot. And I was saying to myself, I'm not the body. But it was boiling, like scalding. We have hot and cold water here. Hot in summer and cold in winter. But these are like tests. Can we understand that I'm not the body? Of course, we have to withstand the inflictions of pain, etc. But once we know this fact, for sure, then immediately we come actually to the Madhyam platform. We come off this bodily platform. At least sometime during the day, we should come off this platform. Although every single night when you go to sleep and you hit the deepest part of your sleep, what happens? You connect with Supersoul. Everybody does. For a billionth of a second, you connect with Supersoul. We were talking yesterday about Govinda Bhasya by Baladeva Dibushan. He mentions that in the Govinda Bhasya. He says that when you sleep at night, the very deepest part of your sleep, you have to connect with Supersoul. Otherwise you can't stay alive. Supersoul is Krishna in the heart. And you're connecting there every single night. We don't have any remembrance of it, but we wake up in the morning refreshed from that sleep, whatever. So consider these things seriously. Huh? How is your brother today? Okay, safe.
We don't speak.
Okay. We don't speak anymore also. Okay. Last one. Ivichitrata hina hale nirvishesh hoy kala simutulya seha aprakrata noy.
The Mayavadi thinks of Sri Krishna to be subject to the limitations of time, such as birth and death, and considers that he is not transcendental. Thus, he rejects Sri Bhagavan's Vichitrata, astonishing characteristics, paraphernalia, qualities, and Leela. Through this vicious attempt, he is left with the philosophy of Nirvishesh Brahm.
This is the greatest tragedy. We were just reading Chaitanya Charitamrita before you came in on a call. And there's one purport in the Madhya Leela, chapter 8, the Rairananda Sambad, purport in 139 verse. Prabhupada writes a 4-page purport, all about the spiritual world. Chindamani Prakara Sadmasavil Kalpa Vriksha, this beautiful Brahma Samhita verse. And he's describing so beautifully Krishna and Krishna's planetary systems and how Krishna is everywhere. And yet you've got these Nirvisheshvadis who are thinking Krishna doesn't exist. It's such a tragedy. People in ignorance, they will just turn away from the very easy to understand truth that there must be a creator in this world. How can there not be? You look at just the way nature operates, how the trees, this photosynthesis, the trees, right, they breathe out oxygen and they breathe in the carbon dioxide that we breathe out. How did that manifest? Just by chance? Will no thoughtful person put that together and appreciate? So many phenomena. Not only that, within us, the body. I mean, do you plan every night how long to grow your hair or your nails? This is all happening by the amazing arrangement of this body. And yet doctors and scientists think that they've understood it and got it down. I mean, you just got to be a little bit sane to appreciate the reality of Krishna, isn't it? Especially if you have the fortune to be encouraged to read Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the history of Krishna completely. And within the Bhagavatam, in Canto 2 and Canto 3 are 5 descriptions of the Virat Rupa. I've said this a number of times. This Virat Rupa is to Krishna to demonstrate his presence in everything in the world. So this Virat Rupa is a powerful purification, tonic to hear the reality of Krishna everywhere. It can inspire the heart of the devotee. We have to be reminded of this regularly because we've forgotten. This truth we have forgotten. Because what happened in the womb of the mother, we actually remembered a lot of this. In the 3rd canto is described, Kapila Deva is describing to his mother Devahuti that in the womb we remember these things and we pray to the Lord. We remember our previous 100 births and we take a vow. This time I will behave myself and I will offer dandavats as soon as I come out of... But the pain and the shock of birth and then the association generally of mother and father telling you what a beautiful baby you are, you just forget. But all these things are there in the consciousness. How to wake the consciousness up is our life's goal. And what's the most powerful way to wake the mind up? With the chanting. The chanting, following Ekadashi like today, these are very powerful antidotes to the poison of material consciousness. We just get covered over, snowed over by so many material considerations. We forget the beautiful, sweet, loving personality of Godhead. And Vrindavan Leela, his relationship with the gopis, with his mother Yashoda, Nanda Baba, all of the with the cows, etc. It's so attractive, the Vrindavan pastimes. And all of that is condensed into Mahaprabhu's pastimes in Goradam. So we get it twice to appreciate. So what amazing support do we have to come to this understanding that I am not the body, that I am the spirit soul, and what is the function of my spirit soul is only to bring pleasure to Krishna. At the moment I'm just trying to bring pleasure to myself. Isn't it? True? We're just always trying to find a way. Almost every breath we breathe, we're calculating, how will I enjoy in the next 10 minutes? How will I enjoy tomorrow? Etc. How will I enjoy next week? And we make these plans for our own material pleasure. Isn't it? Is it true or not? I mean, we're all bewildered. We're covered by a cloud of Maya.
Sometimes we pray to Krishna because he got certain problems and certain issues. We pray to Krishna, what's your will? What do you want me to do? Sometimes you don't get an answer. So sometimes your prayers go, it creates doubts because you don't know Krishna cares.
Yes, yes. How much he cares for us, you know.
So
when you want the answer,
you try to put Krishna first, right? Asking Krishna to
yes,
help you with certain things.
yes,
But if the answer doesn't come, then you know what? You got
But
nothing else. 'Cause you,
it's
'cause,
our generally it's our impurity that we don't appreciate the answer. Krishna will supply the answer through his Shastra. If we're chanting and reading and associating with devotees, mystically, magically, the answer will suddenly, I've experienced this so many times, I've had a query, an inquiry, and suddenly the next book I pick up, there's the answer. Or I sing a bhajan and there's the answer that I was actually inquiring for. But this is really not the best process. I mean, we should take shelter of Guru. And we can ask Guru these things. To ask Krishna to fulfill this is not the best path for bhakti. Our path for bhakti is just to please Krishna, not to ask him really for anything. He knows how much we're suffering. He knows it better than you know it. He knows all the material difficulties. And he will make the arrangements. If you read Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Gitavali or Gitamala, these very beautiful books, I'll give you one before you leave tonight. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he's lamenting in his life and he's bringing his case to Krishna. He's lamenting for not worshipping and serving Krishna in this lifetime. He's lamenting for wasting so much time because now he's writing from a realized point of view. That he realizes how much time in the material world he wasted. He's writing this for us. It's not that he wasted his own life. He didn't waste a single paisa of his own life. But he's writing this knowledge for us. So I think you can read that. I think you will take nourishment from that, from what you just said to me. And bringing your case to Krishna like that. Because the end result of bringing his case is that he only ultimately wants to serve Sri Radhika. He goes through a whole sequence, many steps and stages, and then comes to the point of wanting to serve Radhika. Because that will make your heart satisfied. Because Mahaprabhu has come with this philosophy now at this point in time, through his emissaries, through Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, etc. They've come to give us this connection with Sri Radha, specifically Sri Radha. The greatest lover of Krishna. If we love Sri Radha and we appreciate how much love she has for Krishna, this is very wonderful. Okay? Slowly, slowly. Okay, so I think we're on page 177. Are we? Can someone tell me? Or page 176?
76.
170. Where? At the top?
Yes.
Oh yes, right. So yes, so Haridas Babaji has been explaining to Nityananda the three types of bhaktas, the Kanishta, the Madhyam, and the Uttam. And he's just explained the 4 stages of the Madhyam, because most of the people who are going to read this treatise are Madhyam. The Kanishtas probably won't get time for it. If they do get time for it, they'll quickly become a Madhyam. And the Uttams have already read it. They already understand all this. So for the Madhyam, he's given these 4 incredible stages that are in the verse. That's that Abhineshu, Balishu. Where's that verse? Ishware tad Abhineshu, Balisheshu. Dvishatshu cha. These 4 aspects of worshipping Krishna, and the second characteristics is friendship towards the devotees. We just read through this. And the third is the giving mercy to the ignorant. And the fourth is to ignore those who are inimical. So 4 stages: Krishna, affection for Krishna, then affection for his devotees, and then giving mercy to those who are ignorant, and then avoiding those who are inimical. So he's just said all of these qualities. And now Nityananda, he's going to suddenly interrupt Haridas. So this in itself, of course, is a lesson that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving in respect for the senior elderly personality in this instance. Don't suddenly interrupt him while he's actually speaking. Like our passion can suddenly just jump away from us. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is going to explain this very beautifully, because this whole chapter is about Vaishnava behavior. It's so wonderful chapter. We need this reminder and clear explanation on how to behave with Vaishnavas in this world. If we behave according to these precepts that he's giving us, we will be pleasing Krishna and Guru and our Guru Vargya very nicely. So we have to think like that. So just then, a resident of Baragachi named Nityananda Das interrupted by saying, "What is the behavior of Uttam Bhaktas?" So he hasn't actually even started to speak about, he's been building from the Kanishta to the Madhyam, and he's just about to speak on the Uttam, and now this little boy has interrupted, and it creates a disturbance actually. Slightly startled, Babaji Mahashai said, "Brother, you have asked a question that I'm just about in process of answering. Let me finish what I have to say. I am an old man and my memory is fading. If the subject matter changes too abruptly, I will forget what I was going to say." So, good lessons here. Haridas was a strict Babaji. Although he never found fault with anyone, he was quick to respond when anyone spoke inappropriately. Everyone was stunned to hear his words. This is like your comment about anger. You know, he's demonstrating some cutoff point to this boy. Otherwise, there's controlled anger and there's emotional anger. You should know the distinction between the two. Yogamaya, what's the difference? What's controlled anger and what's emotional anger?
Well, controlled anger would be to teach a lesson.
Yes.
Whereas emotional anger would be just...
You actually lose your own brain, basically, your own sensibilities. Like a teacher has to very often use control anger. Like the serpent raising his hood, you know, just to frighten you. You know that story? When the serpent was told by Narad Muni to stop poisoning people, and then children started to inflict punishment on the serpent, and the serpent went back to Narad Muni and said, "What can I do? They're disturbing me." He said, "Just show them your hood, and then they will stop. Show them your anger." There's a beautiful, beautiful example of this. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, when they first moved to the manor, they had a fireplace in the manor, And Prabhupada instructed the devotees, don't use the fireplace until it's cleaned. But there was one devotee there, the man in charge. It was very cold winter, so he lit a fire. And Prabhupada was out for his morning walk, and when he came back, there was smoke everywhere. And smoke is very dirty, contaminating. Everything gets contaminated, the clothes, the furniture, everything. So he was very, very angry. And he told this devotee, never, light a fire again like this. And he really chastised him strongly. And then this devotee, he thought the next day that actually the chimney was clean and that it wouldn't pull any smoke into the house. And he did the same thing again. And Prabhupada was walking out again, and he came back the next morning, and the same thing happened again. There was smoke everywhere in the manor. This is a fact. My friend Harinamananda told me this. He was there, standing next to Prabhupada. He was cooking Prabhupada's breakfast. And Prabhupada just hit the roof, because this was the second time he had told him. And it seems like his disciples weren't listening to him. So how can he make them listen? By showing and demonstrating his powerful, effulgent anger. I wouldn't like to have seen Prabhupada, probably like Lord Nrsingadev or something like that. Anyway, he was so angry. And then he turned to Harinamananda after he had blasted the devotee. He said, "Is my breakfast ready?" In a voice just like that, completely calm. He hadn't become emotionally involved in the anger. So sometimes we have to do like that. We can chastise, especially a teacher. He has to be angry sometimes with the student to show some strength, to wake the student up, like Prabhupada was waking them up. Think, listen to me, I'm talking to you, he's saying. And you're not listening, you're doing it the same thing the next day. So Prabhupada gives the perfect example then. Everyone was stunned to hear his words. Again he offered pranam to Nityananda Prabhu at the foot of the banyan tree and resumed speaking. Babaji. Now he's going to talk about Uttam. When the bhakti of the Madhyam Vaishnava progresses beyond the stages of sadhan and bhav and comes to the level of prem, it becomes highly condensed, and at that time the Vaishnava becomes an Uttam Bhakta. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.45 describes the symptoms of an Uttam Vaishnava as follows. Sarva bhuteshu ya pashyed bhagavat bhavam atmanaha bhutani bhagavat atmane esha bhagavat ottama. This ottama means topmost, like narottama. We say naro means human, uttam, topmost. One who sees his own bhagavat bhav, ecstatic mood of attraction towards Sri Krishna Chandra in the hearts of all jivas, sarva bhuteshu, and sees all beings within Sri Krishna Chandra, is an Uttam Bhagavat. Everything he's seeing, just like we have the example of Jagannath Das Babaji, when they would give him his plate of prasadam, the puppy dogs would come and eat the prasadam, and the sevaks didn't like this, and they tried to sometimes take some of the puppies away. But Jagannath Babaji was almost blind, and he would feel the heads and realize that one was missing and then tell them to bring it back, because he felt that those residents of the Dham, the dogs, deserved that Mahaprasad as much as he did. He was completely humble, but he was also having the vision that Krishna is in the heart of especially the residents of the Dham. And the most downtrodden residents of the Dham are often the dogs. We see them so mangy and everything, Anyway, that's just to describe an Uttam. An Uttam Vaishnava perceives that all living beings love Bhagavan with the same particular feeling of transcendental love that he himself cherishes towards his Ishtadev. He also perceives that Bhagavan feels a reciprocal attitude of love towards all living beings. An Uttam Vaishnava has no disposition other than the mood of transcendental love. Other moods arise from time to time according to different circumstances, but they are all transformations of that prem. So it's going to be described later how the Uttam has to come down to the Madhyam level to actually speak, to preach. The Uttam Adhikari, he comes down, like Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, like my Gurudev. They come down into this world. They step off their uttam platform, because a madhyam has to discriminate who he's with. He has to see who are those inimical and ignore them. Otherwise, there will just be complete disturbance for him. For example, Shukadev Goswami was an Uttam Bhagavat, but he described Kamsa in words such as Bhoja Pumsula, a disgrace to the Bhoja dynasty. Although it appears as if these words were spoken out of enmity towards Kamsa, they are actually a manifestation of prem towards Krishna. You understand that example? Very simple. Lalita Priya, you understand the example? He's talking about Shukadev Goswami. Shukadev Goswami is an Uttam Bhagavat, and yet he was saying harsh words about Kamsa. In other words, he's not seeing Krishna in the heart of Kamsa, but Kamsa in the Leela was the one who was actually making so much obstruction for Krishna. So his mood of love towards Krishna is increased by condemning Kamsa. Understand? Although it appears as if these words were spoken out of enmity towards Kamsa, they are actually a manifestation of prem towards Krishna. When Shuddha Prem becomes the very life of a bhakta, he is known as an Uttam Bhagavat. In this condition, there is no longer any distinction between love, friendship, mercy and neglect, as is the case with the Madhyam Adhikari. You stop me if you want some clarification or anything. That's why we're having this reading. Okay? All his behavior becomes a manifestation of prem, and there is no difference in his eyes between a Kanishta, a Madhyam, or an Uttam Vaishnava. Nor is there any difference between a Vaishnava and a non-Vaishnava. This advanced condition is extremely rare. And later on, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is going to give us a direct example of that in the pastime here. Just consider now that a Kanishta Vaishnava does not render service to Vaishnavas, and an Uttam Vaishnava does not make any distinction between Vaishnavas and non-Vaishnavas, for he sees all jivas as servants of Krishna. This means that only Madhyam Vaishnavas offer respect to Vaishnavas and render service to them. A Madhyam Vaishnava must serve the three kinds of Vaishnavas: those who chant Krishna Nam even once, those who chant Krishna Nam constantly, and those whose mere sight automatically causes Krishna Nam to dance on one's tongue. So these three stages of Krishna Nam. A Vaishnava may be considered a Vaishnava, a superior Vaishnava, or a superlative Vaishnava according to his degree of advancement. A Madhyam Bhakta should serve Vaishnavas according to their status. This is very important. This is why Bhaktivinoda Thakur is taking the trouble to explain all this. He's trying to teach us this distinction between these different types of devotees so that we can offer proper respect to devotees according to their adhikar. If you try and honor someone who's a Kanishta, and you're thinking that even if he's in an old body, but you're treating him like and he's a Kanishta, and you're treating him like an Uttam, that Kanishta, what will be the result? He'll become very puffed up. He won't know how to properly behave. Understand? So it's important that we understand the distinction. At the same time, we're not making condemning judgments, but we should just know in the background what he's saying here. Only an Uttam Vaishnava will conclude that it is improper to consider whether a Vaishnava is Kanishta, Madhyam or Uttam. See, the Uttam doesn't consider this. The Madhyam does. He has to. If a Madhyam Adhikari Vaishnava thinks in this way, he will become an offender. Sriman Mahaprabhu indicated this to the residents of Kulinyagram, and his instructions are to be revered, even more than the Vedas, by all Madhyam Vaishnavas. Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord, and he's come at a particular time and circumstance in this planet for us particularly. We should always think like this. Mahaprabhu is my Lord. Mahaprabhu is my Bhajan Shiksha Guru. This is how my Gurudev has explained in Mana Shiksha. Mahaprabhu is our Bhajan Shiksha Guru. Everything that Mahaprabhu does, I embrace and I try to emulate. I try to follow his example to the best of my ability. Because Mahaprabhu has the key to those sadhaks in this age. He knows how crazy and stupid we are. He knows how difficult it is in Kali Yuga. And he's given the most powerful purification conceivable, along with the highest estimation of destination that we can actually achieve, Goloka Vrindavan. He's given that as well. It's amazing. I've told you before to read this book with Dr. Madhav and to appreciate how much Radha loves Krishna and Krishna loves Radha, and how much all the Sakhis are assisting in this prem between Radha and Krishna. He's given all of this. This was never there previously. Understand how fortunate we are. It's absolutely phenomenal. The gifts that we have today, they are so incredibly special. If we were living 600 years ago, we would all be practicing Vaidhi Bhakti, all be thinking only Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and at very best we might be aiming for Vaikuntha. We wouldn't even have heard of Goloka Vrindavan. Just like Queen Kunti, I said the other day. She hadn't even understood what is Madhyam, what is Madhurya, what is Madhurya. She had no conception of that. Where are we up to? I've lost my place.
178.
At the start
Oh.
of the start of 178.
Oh. And what are the Vedas or Shruti? They are the orders of Parameshwara. Having said this much, Haridas became silent for a moment. At this time, Nityananda Das Babaji of Baragachi folded his hands and said, "May I ask a question now?" So this is part of our teaching. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is showing that now Nityananda has become very humble and quiet, and he's not interrupting in a sharp way. He's requesting with full respect and honor. Haridas Babaji replied, "As it pleases you." Babaji Mahashai, to which category of Vaishnava do you think I belong? Am I a Kanishta or a Madhyam Vaishnava, or am I? I am certainly not an Uttam Vaishnava. Haridas Babaji Mahashai smiled a little and said, "Brother, can one who has received the name Nityananda Das be anything other than an Uttam Vaishnava?" You see, all of this example is showing that Haridas is on the Uttam level. He's seeing with that vision. My Nitai is very merciful. Even when he is beaten, he gives prem in return. So if one takes his name and becomes his Das, need anything more be said? Nityananda Das, I sincerely want to know my actual position. Babaji, then tell me your whole story. If Nitai empowers me to speak, I shall say something. Now we're going to hear the story of Nityananda Das. I took birth in a low-caste family in a small village on the bank of the Padmavati river. I was very simple and humble by nature. The Padmavati, by the way, is a part of the Ganga, a side river from the Ganga. It's like the Ganga. I was very simple and humble by nature from childhood, and I always used to stay away from bad company. I was married at an early age, but after some days my parents died, and my wife and I remained alone in the home. We did not have so much wealth, so we worked every day to maintain ourselves. Our days passed happily in this way, but this happiness did not last for long, for after a while she also left her body. Because of my separation from her, thoughts of detachment awakened in my mind. Near my village were many Vaishnavas who had renounced household life, and I saw that the people of Baragachi offered them great respect. I hankered for that respect very strongly, and because of the temporary feelings of detachment brought on by the death of my wife, I went to Baragachi and accepted the dress of a Vaishnava mendicant. However, after a few days my mind became fickle. It was possessed by wicked thoughts, and it became very difficult for me to control. But by great fortune I received the association of an excellent Vaishnava who is pure and simple. At present he is performing bhajan in Braj. With deep affection he gave me profound advice, kept me in his association, and purified my mind. This is like Sannyasi Thakur himself. He came to the Vaishnavas for association. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is always emphasizing the necessity of this association. Without this association, your mind will just start to lead you in a speculative way. You'll start to think, I should make a lot of money. I should have an ice cream factory. All these different things will come into the mind. Unless we're tight with those devotees who are very serious about their bhajan and making progress spiritually, we'll just start to conceive of all kinds of different things to do. Now my mind is no longer disturbed by mischievous thoughts. I have developed taste for chanting 100,000 names of Harinam every day. That means a lakh. I understand that there is no difference between Sri Hari and Sri Nam. So this is the description of the Madhyam. Now he's chanting Shuddhanam, so he can't be Kanishna. And that both are fully spiritual. I observe the Ekadashi fast according to Shastra and offer water to Tulsi. When the Vaishnavas perform kirtan, I also join with rapt attention. I drink the water that washes the feet of pure Vaishnavas. I study the Bhakti Shastras every day. I no longer desire to eat palatable food or dress nicely. I have no taste to hear or participate in mundane talks. When I see the Vaishnavas' ecstatic moods, a desire comes into my mind to roll on the ground at their feet, and sometimes I do so, but it is out of a desire for prestige. Now please give your verdict. To which class of Vaishnava do I belong, and how should I behave? So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is again building in all his instructions. This is how we should progress from the Kanishta stage to the Madhyam stage. All of these, washing the water, drinking the water from the feet of the Vaishnavas, reading the Bhakti Shastras every day, chanting 1 lakh names every day, not having desire for palatable food or to dress nicely. I have no taste to hear or participate in mundane talks. All of these are instructions for us if we want to come on this path with seriousness to actually achieve something with our short lifespan. We don't have a long time. We think we have such a long time, but time will just go so quick. And to build impressions of this nature takes time. To begin to chant, for example, 1 lakh of names every day, it takes time to organize your life around that chanting, because if you chant 1 lakh every day, you have to be really focused on your timing. You can't be spaced out. You have to rise early, and then, because you'll obviously have other things to attend to as well, so you have to work out your schedule. But it's very possible to chant 1 lakh of names. If you rise at about 3, you can complete them by around 10:30, and take your prasadam and everything. And then you can do so many other duties in the day. But it requires some regulated practice. It's not going to happen immediately. If you practice for a week, and then 2, and then 3, after a month, it'll become like a rhythm for you. It'll become like natural. After 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, it'll become very, very natural. After 3, 4, 5, 6 years, it'll become your way of life. After 10, 15, 20 years, it'll be completely, these impressions will be so deep within you, you can never be swayed or pulled again by the illusory energy. Really. This is how it works. It's a build-up, a gradual build-up of these powerful impressions. This is called Sukriti. We're developing Sukriti. We are Sukriti hungry. We want these sanskars. We want these good impressions. Haridas Babaji looked at Vaishnava Das Babaji with a smile and said, tell us to which class of Vaishnava does Nityananda Das belong? You see, Haridas can't say himself because he's Uttam. So he only sees him as Uttam. So he's asking somebody else. Vaishnava Das is not on the Uttam level. He's probably Madhyam Uttam, or at least Madhyam by this time, because Vaishnava Das has only just come also. Vaishnava Das, from what I have heard, he has surpassed the Kanishta stage and has entered the Madhyam stage. Babaji, that is my feeling also. Nityananda Das, how wonderful! Today I have come to know my true position from the mouths of Vaishnavas. Please bestow your mercy upon me, so that I may gradually come to the stage of an Uttam Vaishnava. So our goal is not just to become Madhyam. Our goal is to become Uttam, is to become fully realized. We have the opportunity now, in this life, to become Uttam, if you sincerely want that. Everything is fueled by your desire and the intensity of your desire. The intensity of your desire will build according to your association with Harinam to begin with. According to how much you take your Harinam, the intensity of your focus will increase. And then you will look for higher association. You will look for a place like Goradam or Vrindavan Dham or Nilachala to stay, Puridam, and you will want to be in the company of devotees only, exclusively. You have to be a fanatic.
Yeah.
There is no other way. You appear a fanatic to materialists. Material people think, oh, you're crazy, you're fanatical. But they don't know the beauty of Krishna, where we're going. The beauty of where we're going is intoxicatingly so sweet and special. Krishna's pastimes are just so wonderful to appreciate. And how close can we get to Krishna by this practice? We just want to run. Why would you want to do anything else? What else is there in life to go for? Money? Yes, he says. But we know the emptiness of that. You know, nothing. It's like banging a tin drum, nothing in it. Vaishnava Das. At the time that you accepted mendicancy, do you know what mendicancy means? It means becoming like a monk, becoming a bhakta. There was a desire for honor and prestige in your heart. Everyone has this desire for honor and prestige. If we don't have the desire to bring pleasure to Krishna, we have the desire to bring pleasure to ourselves. And mostly, people have pleasure in themselves when other people will applaud them. This is like things like Facebook, when you get the big thumbs up. No, I know this. Facebook is like a Kali Yuga distraction. Of course, the devotees use it beautifully, but at the same time, there's an undercurrent of danger that you have to watch out. If everyone's praising you and glorifying you, that's not going to help your bhakti. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he's told us that amidst all the anarthas in existence, this pratishta is the greatest anartha. To be center stage and everyone be glorifying me, then I'm feeling love is coming. Right? Very hard to purify this. So Vaishnava Das is going to give us an insight here. Hence, and prestige in your heart. So you were not actually qualified to enter the renounced order, and therefore your acceptance of mendicancy, or brahmachari, was tainted with flaw of unauthorized consideration. In spite of this, you have attained genuine auspiciousness by the mercy of the Vaishnava. You've got a blue edition, right?
Yeah.
That was the very first edition. And that's been edited over to become this green edition. I have the green edition here if you want to
I
get it.
didn't have this sentence.
It'll be different what I'm reading, what you're reading there.
It's mainly the same, but this one sentence is different.
Yeah, but some things are different. But you can open that and follow it there. That's a very rare edition, that blue edition. It's a nice edition. I like it. I published it. I made it. I love it. But the green edition is actually more refined. That's an original, the blue one. In spite of this, you have attained genuine auspiciousness for the mercy of the Vaishnavas. So at the end, everything is good for this Nityananda Prabhu, because he's got the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Nityananda Das, even now I have some desire for honor. I think that I may attract others and win tremendous respect if I am seen weeping profusely or displaying ecstatic emotions. This young boy is being very honest, isn't he? Isn't that a lesson itself when you come into the society of Vaishnavas? They can actually see, like my Gurudev used to say this all the time, don't try and hide something. Because the Vaishnavas can see into the heart, they can see the mood. The face is the index of the mind, they can see. And here he's being completely honest. If you're completely honest like this, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself in his prayers, he's exposing his heart very vulnerably. He's showing a vulnerable self. Like Prabhu just opened out a vulnerable mood, you know. This means that the Vaishnavas can reciprocate with that, because it's on the truthful level. But if we try and be deceptive and think that we have something better, etc. So Nityananda is really presenting himself in a very real way. Babaji, you must endeavor to give this up. Otherwise there is a serious danger that your bhakti will be eroded. You understand what eroded means? It means taken away. And you will have to descend to the Kanishta platform again. Although the 6 enemies of lust, anger, greed, envy, pride and illusion may have departed, the desire for honor remains. This is why Mahaprabhu in his Shikshastikam, Chinadapi Sunichina, and the verse after that, Nardanam Najanam Nasudarim. Oh no, what's that? Najan, yes. The next verse. Yes, it's telling us how to become humble, to not desire this prestige. This desire for fame is the most pernicious. You know, pernicious? It means strong, powerful, enemy of the Vaishnavas. And it does not easily agree to leave the sadhaks. You know, if you've been a devotee for a little while and you start to know some verses and you're reading or something, very easily this pratishta can come. When people start to say, oh, you spoke so nicely, oh, this was good, you gave such a nice kirtan, you gave such a nice class, you're doing such nice service, then if that seed hasn't been purified, boom, it'll just jump out. You know? So it has to be purified. How can it be purified? By having a deeper attraction for Krishna than I do for my own reputation. Moreover, a single drop of genuine spiritual emotion is far superior to an imitative display of emotion. Chaya, bhav, abhas. Here we get the chaya again, the shadow. Please give me your mercy, said Nityananda Das, and reverentially placed the dust from Haridas Babaji's lotus feet on his own head. At this, Babaji became unsettled. He quickly got up, embraced Nityananda Das, seated him by his side, and patted him on the back. How extraordinary is the effect of touching a Vaishnava. Tears immediately began to stream from Nityananda Das's eyes, and Haridas Babaji could not check his own tears, although he tried to do so. A wonderful atmosphere was manifest, and tears came to the eyes of all the assembled Vaishnavas. At that moment, Nityananda Das accepted Sri Haridas in his heart as his guru, and his life became successful. Within a short time, the emotion subsided, and he inquired, what are the primary and secondary characteristics of a Kanishta Bhakta in regard to bhakti? We'll go into this tomorrow, so we can leave it there for today. I like just to be punctual with the timing of 1 hour, because like Prabhupada said that 40 minutes is the amount of time we can actually digest. So if we take it to an hour, that's long enough. So we've heard some nice... Tell me something of the nice points that you've heard today. What have you understood from class today? One thing.
How Uttam Adhikari sees Krishna in everyone,
Yes.
and himself in that Krishna.
Yes, that's true. Tell me what you...
I like this point about how, you know, we should aspire. The goal is to become Uttam, actually.
Yes.
Many times my vision just gets stuck on like Madhyam. I don't even think of it as an option.
Yes. Me too. I had the same feeling. Very good. Young mind.
Pride is the greatest.
Huh?
That pride is the greatest enemy to.
It is. And it's so insidious. It just comes out of nowhere. We actually think, yes, I've got that under control. Then someone says something, like anger also. We think we've got it under control, and someone says the wrong thing, boom. You know? Very good. What did you get?
We need to be sincere and open the heart, then Vaishnavas can make operation on our heart and purify it.
Yes, very good. You have to be courageous to do that, because sometimes, like Nityananda, you're going to appear a fool in front of people. Very good. Prabhuji. Achyutam.
Vaishnava doesn't see difference between Kanishta, Madhyam and Uttama. But if Madhyam think like this, it
Yes.
will be offenses.
Yes,
And,
very good, very good.
Also about Pratisha.
Yes,
Many Vaishnavas, even they don't have angry and even fight with enemies.
Yeah.
But Pratisha often with him, and how we can take out from our hurt.
yes,
I heard from I think Srila Bhakti Bharti Maharaj, he said we should have association with high level Vaishnavas,
yes,
and
yes.
this partition come out.
Yes, very good. And one key is regret, remorse. That means that I've understood how proud I've been. If you're not regretting and remorsing, this is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings about in Gitabali. Very good, Achyuta. Charanji, any point that is prominent from today? Just one point.
Probably Nityananda Das's question. He really sincerely wants to know his actual position.
Yes,
So it's a very important question to know one's actual position.
yes, very good. It's very, very helpful to understand from a Mahabhagavat what is your adhikar. Where are you? Are you Kanishta? Is he seeing you as Kanishta, or is he seeing you as Madhyam, or is he seeing you as Uttam? Very good. Nice point. Prabhuji, anything?
Just Nityananda does. It is important to have association of Vaishnavas.
Yes. Nityananda proves that.
Because he became Madhyam Adhikari. A good Madhyam
Yes,
by being.
yes, very good. Okay. Anything, Mother? No? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, kripa sindhavevcha, patitanam bhavnivyo vaishnavena bhava. This is what I do with the kids in the school actually. We go around each child after the class and they have to relate what they have understood from the class, and they're incredible. You can't stop them talking. They're just on a rocket, all of them. These are the kids from the Golden Avatar Gurukul across the river.
You know what to do?